What's up, y'all? Just for your knowledge, this was going to be a viewer comment video, and I responded to a lot of viewer comments, but ended up talking for like 10 minutes about this EP, and I just feel like it makes more sense as its own video. You will see why, and I'll post the rest of the stuff at some point. Garrett says, please review Brian Kelley's Wave Pack, and okay.
Right into town on my two-wheel steel horse.
So I don't know if everyone else finds this album release as interesting as I do, but I've been really fascinated to see what is Brian Kelley going to do as a solo artist once he's no longer just kind of the backing harmony vocals of Florida Georgia Line, which was one of the best-selling acts of the last 10 years in country music, even if they have really fallen off as of late with that last album, Life Rolls On. But as we've seen in other really famous duos, when the person that's not the main voice that you're hearing on all the radio mixes, like Kix Brooks from Brooks and Dunn or Christian Bush in Sugarland, when they try to go solo, it's not always easy for them to establish themselves as an artist. And I also wondered, what does your voice sound like when you're delivering songs yourself? And are you going to pursue the same kind of sound or something totally different? And are you going to want to be more serious? Or are you still going to be a party boy? I was just curious. And then I also wanted to check it out just because I like Brian as a person. I've mentioned this once before on the channel, but Brian is a huge reason why this channel is in the place that it is today, because over 2 years ago, back in January 2019, when my Snaptrack video had blown up, but I really didn't have a following, he reached out over Instagram and gave me a call and just like encouraged me basically out of the blue. And we had like a long conversation, and he was like, dude, I think you could really make this a big thing for yourself. And I think you're good at it, and you have a passion for music, and you should really like believe in yourself. And at the time, I actually had a really strange response to that phone call. I was very angry for like a month. Like, I was just like, I'm so annoyed that this random celebrity just called me, and like, I don't want to be your friend. Why are you bothering me? Are you trying to buy my vote? It just kind of was messing with me, and there's like power dynamics and stuff like that. And at the same time, though, it was nice to hear. And it ended up kind of kicking me in the ass in a good way, where it really kind of made me believe in myself for the first time, and really like just kind of admit to myself that, yeah, I am trying to build something. I am trying to pursue something. And, there was still a part of me that was like, okay, you can't buy my vote. I've probably been even a little harsher to Florida Georgia Line than I would have otherwise, just to prove to myself that, hey, just because you were nice to me, I can't, just go so easy on you. I gave their last album a 3. But in hindsight, that was a really, really just important moment in my life. Just having someone that had had a lot of success, stop and tell me that I was good at something and that I should believe in myself really helped me. And it was especially strange just because I had always been pretty harsh to Florida Georgia Line, and he gave me something that I really hold close to kind of my philosophy of reviewing music, which is you can be harsh so long as you're thoughtful. It's different than being an asshole. That's kind of what he told me. And that was really helpful feedback to hear from an artist that, oh, it's not that big of a deal to me if you dislike something as long as you're thinking about it. And so that's just kind of this like weird relationship, not even relationship, we're like acquaintances, but it probably like weighs more heavily on me because it was so weird to get attention from someone that kind of had a big following like that at the start of this YouTube channel, which is sort of why now I like overthink any like tagging of artists and try to keep my distance from any celebrities, because I just feel like if you're going to review music, you can't really be their friends. But anyway, I just think it's necessary context to say that Brian has played a pretty big role in my life. I'm really thankful for him for kind of giving me that push, and it has made me excited to see what he wants to do on his own.
Yeah, they call me Beach Cowboy. Sand cruiser.
So then the album dropped this week. It's just 4 songs. It's called the Wave Pack EP, and it is a very, 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 very beach-focused EP. And it would not be an out-of-place comparison to say that this is going to remind you of Jake Owen or Kenny Chesney. The sort of official rebrand song is called Beach Cowboy. It's also my favorite of the music videos. I just think it looks really cool. And although the song feels like a pretty gimmicky and it's very self-referential to Brian Kelley and kind of how he is defining himself, that's kind of over and over again telling you that he's the beach cowboy, I think it also sounds really cool. I think the kind of almost Spanish or a little bit like Hawaiian guitar sounds that are all running through this feel really fun. I like some of the production choices of like the galloping and the lasso noise. Corey Crowder is a producer I almost always take extreme issue with, but I actually like how he feels on this kind of smoother, lighter production on this EP. I just think it's a better fit for him than some of the more blustering rock sounds that you might expect from Florida Georgia Line. My favorite track of the 4 that are on here is called Party on the Beach.
Yeah, it's a party on the beach. Little bit salty, little bit sweet.
This is definitely the countryest feeling song to me. It a little bit reminds me of Midland's Drinking Problem, and I actually really love the words on this song. I think this is the one that's most chock full of clever wordplay. Stuff like Red Sky Night, Sailor's Delight. I love this one line where it talks about
Dogs on the grill, dogs off the leash.
almost every single lyric in here is some kind of beach pun, which just makes it feel like a cut above. There's none of these lines like, we're out here doing what we've always done. Instead, you're going to be told, oh, there's trucks in the sand. And maybe that's not the most creative image in the world, but hey, at least it's an image.
We got it made by the water, right on the beach, salt in the air.
Made by the Water definitely kind of feels like the single to me. I imagine if they go to radio with any of these, that's the one they're going to go to radio with. And it's a nice time. I mean, it's a very simple song about enjoying being by the water. And then the EP closer, Sunday Service in the Sand, is maybe kind of the more serious version.
Whoa, watching them white caps crashing over my sins.
Of Made by the Water. It's kind of about a redemption or like a personal church service found out on the beach. So it's going to be kind of your version of My Church or Where I Find God or Church in a Chevy by Jordan Davis. The country stars don't want to go and worship corporately with other people. They're all finding God on their own in the wilderness. I appreciate that on that song, sin is mentioned, because my biggest criticism of this whole project and just kind of a Florida Georgia Line lately in general is just the good vibes. I know they love vibing, and I know that vibes are important even in the lyrics on this record, but I just feel like we need a tiny bit of conflict. There needs to be some backdrop where some things go wrong in life, because that is what makes the beach satisfying. The comfort that comes from the water and from sitting in the sand and not having a worry in the world only matters if there is worry in the world, and if life isn't easy, and if things do go wrong, oh, well, then that makes it satisfying. But something about kind of only having good vibes and a drink in our hand and a rum and a Truly and enjoy and be out on the beach, man, that's nice, but that can't be all there is. And so I would just love to hear a little more meat on the bones. Like, I think of a song like El Cerrito Place by Kenny Chesney, and a lot of Kenny Chesney songs, actually. Like, there's this little bit of, there's like a backdrop of sadness that makes kind of the islandy feel of a lot of his music so cool and so different, and make it feel kind of like a relief. And so who knows where the rest of this project goes, but just I hope we get a little bit of that. And maybe I'm just like melancholy and want everything to be a little bit sad. I know I'm kind of a sad boy. Sad boy country makes me, I don't know that it even makes me happy. It makes me more sad, and I think that will make me happy. But I just think it's real. I just think it's real. Life isn't always a good vibe. Not everything is always going well. And maybe that's all he wants to put out as an artist, but I just want a tiny bit more. So I'm interested to see where the rest of this project goes. Production-wise, I would want less stuff like Sunday Service in the Sand, kind of that blustering electronic drum kit.
I'm talking to the man upstairs.
It just doesn't hit you the way that maybe the little xylophone and high guitar notes in Party on the Beach does.
I can guarantee right now, if they're saying you're gonna find a
Kind of those guitar moments on Beach Cowboy. I like that stuff, and being able to hear it in a little bit of a lighter touch in production just gives a lot more dynamics to me. So overall, I would just say it's like a really encouraging step in the right direction. I don't think it's a masterpiece by any means. I don't think it's like some really deep thing that's making me feel Lori McKenna feels, but for what it is, which is kind of a fun, beachy EP, I think it's cool, and it defines his sound as different than Florida Georgia Line, and now we'll see what people do with it. I'm just going to look over on my subreddit really quick. Country Music Stuff is the name of that subreddit. They often do album threads when there's a new album dropped, and let's just see what some people are saying over there. Damn, I Go for the Nachos says, it isn't entirely what I expected it to be, but I'll be damned if I said it wasn't great compared to the Garbo he just released collaboratively with Tyler. Financial Wizard 77 says, this kind of super chill sound isn't really what I like listening to, but I really like how it barely really sounds like FGL. Even if it's not right up my alley, applause to him for changing up his creative direction instead of just cranking out the same poppy radio hits. Even if I don't particularly like it, the EP feels more like Kenny Chesney than Life Rolls On, and that is an enormous step in the right direction. B Favo16 says, just listening to it for the first time right now, it's actually giving me a lot of Jake Owen vibes. I've always wanted BK to do a solo album. I love every song he's been the lead singer on for the FGL, so I had high hopes for this. Nice beach, chill music.